You're still watching TVC Breakfast. Now, tax reforms in Nigeria have strengthened the country's revenue base by reducing dependency on oil and making taxation a more reliable source of funding for development. Now, these reforms have helped the government finance infrastructure, social services, and economic growth through more stable and predictable tax income. They have also widened the tax net by bringing more individuals and businesses, especially from the informal sector, into the system. Also, tax reforms support business growth by offering exemptions and reduced rates for small and medium-sized enterprise, encouraging job creations and investment. Joining us in the studio for this very important conversation is CEO of Finance with Muktar Muhammed. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. And I'm happy that we're talking about these tax reforms. You know, just yesterday I was reading about it, and we have some countries like Japan, UK, that they depend solely on tax. You know, in Nigeria, people want to pay tax, but oftentimes what you hear is that, you know, we do not see where the money goes to. You know, we pay our tax, the roads are still bad. We pay our tax, but we do not get the right infrastructure. So that makes some Nigerians say that, you know what, we don't want to pay our tax. And we have these many tax reforms. We know what the Renewed Hope is doing. The president is trying to come up with all these reforms. But at the end of the day, where are we in this? How are we able to get the trust of Nigerians again to want to pay their tax?
Well, number one, it's your civic responsibility to pay tax.
But what if you're paying it and you don't see any dividends?
Well, some people will tell you that tax evasion is a crime, whether it's being used for whatever you want, whether it's not being used for what it's supposed to be used for. But first and foremost, you have to pay your tax. If you are earning, you have to pay tax. That's a no-brainer. Yeah. So it's not for us to justify why we are not paying it because of road, because the roads are not good. Once you are earning, you are supposed to pay tax. What people do is this tax avoidance, which is legal, how you find legal ways of avoiding paying taxes the way but you still pay taxes. Yeah. But doesn't mean you might pay taxes is legitimate in any government. You just pointed out the United Kingdom especially runs its government by taxes.
Exactly, Japan as well.
Japan, but if you look at Nigeria, the challenge has been that most government doesn't have tax that revenue that come through taxes. They love their revenues to come through levies. Give an example of a state like Lagos. If you look at Lagos critically, if you look at the local government structures in Lagos, they are not built around taxes. They are built around levies. Levy the market women, levy the barber, the guy that is having the barbing salon. That is the only way they think they can be able, because they've not enlightened people on how to pay your taxes. Now, the other reason is people say, oh, our taxes are not working for us. I remember when the current president was governor of Lagos State, why a lot of Lagosians started paying taxes at that time. He will, especially when the federal government withhold funding from them, he will say taxpayers' money at work. You put you the road, you see the road that taxpayers, your money is working. You say, this is tax money working. A lot of people begin to pay tax. So as it stands today, I think Lagos is the state that pays taxes more than any other state in Nigeria. Now, I saw your introduction, the informal sector, that's the main challenge for Nigeria. The informal sector, government has not been able to bring them into that tax net. And so what you see is that the government tax the already taxed. When you hear widening the tax bracket, sometimes Nigeria is going back to the already tax and saying, you are not paying enough tax. You have to pay more. So we are not looking at the informal sector. The informal sector is that vulcanizer. The informal sector is that guy that has a barbing salon, that lady that has a beauty salon. How do you tax such people? Then your question comes, they will tell you, why should we pay taxes when we don't have good road? Why should we pay taxes when we don't have power? Why should we pay taxes? So until we create something for the informal sector, because the informal sector is the largest employer of labor in Nigeria. Over 70% of Nigerians are employed by the informal sector. Now, the formal sector, there's no challenge in terms of paying taxes because it's deducted directly from sources. Then again, government must begin to look at tax, not just about revenue. It's about to grow your economy. That's why I like the Tax Reform Act in the area of businesses, small businesses, and now begin to have a breather in how much they can pay in terms of turnover, and even company income tax was reduced by 5% and all that. So that bill itself for businesses, especially smaller business, the informal sector is a fantastic bill. But when you look at the other integrity of that, you may have one or two challenges. But when it comes to business, I think that bill is one of the best bills we've ever produced.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of people have this tax reform, the way they talk about it, even though I have some kind of formal education, I'm getting confused. While some people are really happy, other people are very sad. While some people are saying this is just to impoverish the poor a little bit more, the other people are saying, no, this one will tax the rich a little bit. Could you just clear this thing for me?
Yeah, when you talk about taxing the rich more, yeah, the rich are going to pay more according to this tax reforms bill. Definitely. The rich are going to pay more. The poor are not going to pay so much because, again, if you don't earn up to, I think, $1 million in a year, you no more be taxed. You know, that office assistant, that office will not be taxed like before again because it's not earning up to that amount. So that's when the bill also is very, very good. Okay. Now, to those that are crying, yes, again, you see, when you want to do tax, you have to look at your economic structure. So that's the difference between the UK, Japan of this world, and other parts of the world. They look at the economic structure. There's what we call tax benefits. There's what we call tax rebate.
Okay.
There's what we call tax holiday.
Yeah.
So when you look at our reform, our current reform, yes, we have tax rebate, but they make the modality not seamless. In developed economy in the world, they can calculate their tax rebate. Say, okay, I pay tax X, Y, Z. I remove this. That means I'm entitled to this because my income level is this. But in Nigeria, yeah, it creates a lot of bottleneck. Yeah. There's no clarity.
Yes.
Now, when you talk about taxing the rich, yes, I think what really happened, people think it's only the rich that invest in the equity market. We talk about the capital gain tax. When they were talking about it last week, where the whole stock market went ago, people felt, oh, you're taxing them. No. Let me give you an instant. A lot of average Nigerians normally do their little investment in treasury bills, in little investment in commercial papers these days. So now, government made it so good that it's only government bond that is free from taxes. So if you want to do on treasury bill, and this normally were not tax related before, so you now have to pay tax, 10%. Okay. So that's where the whole challenge comes. So the tax itself, you can't say because the average Nigerian don't take so much risk. Now, for the very rich in a capital gain tax, there was no clarity until clarity began to come in. What was the clarity? If I have owned a stock for 10 years,
yes.
Initially we were made to understand that if you own that stock for 10 years, when you sell it, they will calculate when you bought it in 10 years ago and remove your capital gain tax. But luckily, the chairman of the tax reform firm came up and said, no, that is not how it works. It will not do that retrogressive tax again. If you own, let me say your stock at the end of 31st of December, at the close of this year, whatever you have gained all those years, nobody will tax it. But if at January and you are going to sell that equity and you have made let me say you bought a stock at 100 naira and it's now 115, so 30% will be taxed on that 15 naira. That's what I said going forward. Now this is the challenge. The challenge is then if you are a retail investor, if you have up to you're like 150 million, you will not be taxed. If you don't do a transaction up to 150 million, you will not be taxed. Now, the challenge is retail investors are normally the smaller investors, so there's no challenge about that. Yes. But what really keeps the equity market, especially now that we're earning low revenue, is the foreign investors. Okay. So they are the ones that are coming in with FX. Remember, our oil revenue is down, so we are not seeing that showing in our reserve. Rather, our reserve is improving because of the non-oil sector and also especially with foreign portfolio investors.
Yes.
Okay, let me quickly come in at the moment. The 2025 Tax Reform Act has a lot of key components that will benefit the lives of Nigerians. One of it is the VAT exemptions. Can you quickly walk us through this development on how this will benefit Nigerians?
Benefit is good, but let's look at why the VAT exemption.
Okay.
Initially, there was not supposed to be VAT exemption. You understand? We had that issue with the government, who is going to pay value-added tax. Some states will collect more than some states. So if you are not adding value, what is value added is when you are not adding value. Yes, tax exemption is good, like you have pointed in the area of value-added tax. I like that in the area of food. But that is the informal sector, like I told you. For us to get gain of that tax exemption in the area of food, pharmaceutical is pharmaceutical is even better. I think that one we can easily get it. Education, yes, education has always been like that. You don't pay VAT on educational product before even up to this, before even this thing. Now the food exemption, that is supposed to be key, but that is largely driven by the informal sector. When you exempt them from taxes, the back way they pay levies.
Okay.
So what we have seen this bill comes to do is the bill is saying we want to minimize the levies that businesses pay. But what you've seen is that government in Nigeria strive more on levies than taxes, because some states outside of Lagos, Rivers, maybe Abuja, maybe even Kano, are not driven by smaller businesses. So these businesses have not encouraged, they don't see encouragement to pay taxes. And the government was looking at how can we get more, the internet generated revenue. Go and check it. Outside of Lagos, most states' internet generation levy is largely generated through levies.
Levies, yes.
So those levies, who are paying those levies? The woman in the market.
Yeah.
Some of them pay up to 4 or 5 levies. You go to Lagos, they say, Alaja, this, that.
Some of them are crying daily. That's why some of them are crying daily.
Course.
So the tax exemption is good, but how do you practicalize it?
Yeah.
That is the main challenge, to get the informal sector to enjoy. If that woman that used to pay 5 levies is no more paying any of these levies, and you say, Mama, you'll be paying tax. Yeah. I say, I used to pay this, that. Now we'll just be paying only one tax.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So you see the cost. That is the beauty. In the normal, okay, if you go, we don't have like abroad where you have corporate stores where you can go and buy all these household food items. So there, those ones will enjoy those tax exemption. If you're going to a big place that have the sell how many of that do we have in? We might have in Lagos. Do we have in Kano? Yeah. Do we have in Maiduguri? Do we have in Damaturu? No.
You know, and the fact that, I love the fact that at the end of the day, you know, the rich will pay more and the people...
Don't be happy about that.
Let me tell you why. Because when you look at some businesses, I'm telling you from experience, I have people that they were not making enough at the end of the year and they still had to pay a lot of money. And this is not me being biased, but at the end of the day, it's beautiful to see that the rich will pay more than... I'm the poor, so I'm talking for myself.
Yes.
But now, let me come...
You are not the poor. Let me before you come to your question, let me tell you what happened. When the rich pay more, the rich own all the companies. So what you will see is that cost of those goods will go up. Yeah,
but at the end of the day, let's put it practical. If at the end of every year I'm not making 1 million, I'm not making 1 million naira in my business, now how you expect me to pay tax? So that's why I'm saying that it's good for the people that are not making that amount.
But you pay levies, that's a challenge.
But now let's talk about implementation, like you were saying. You know, this is a fantastic idea, it's a lofty idea, but how do we now make sure that this is fully implemented? And I also want to speak to you about the fact that, because I'm a Gen Z, I'm on social media a lot, and we also hear a lot of people speak about the fact that they do not see the money of their tax being used. How can, you know, Nigeria as a government make individuals believe in the tax system again, like how other countries, you know, believe, other citizens believe?
Exactly. Gen Zs are the one quarreling more on social media about paying taxes, because most of the Gen Zs also, they are social media influential. Yeah. They are this, and sometimes you just see, they just say, oh, you have made X amount. And they say, you must pay taxes on it. And they start, how I didn't make up to that amount. Yeah. Why are you calculating it? So that also gives room for corruption. Because at the end of the day, you have to go and meet them, and you sit down, and the Nigerian system comes to play. Avoid, okay, yeah, we can give you leverage on this. Okay, you're supposed to pay 2 million. Okay, you pay 1 million to government. You give me 500. Then we let you go.
Well, has that been happening? No, you you're saying it. I want to know if that has been happening because
so you have never encountered the tax people. So let's leave that.
You just reported yourself actually.
So just leave that. So what implementation is key. Now I talked about when President Tinubu was governor of Lagos State. When people begin to see the benefit of taxation, people would naturally want to pay taxes. Not only because of the benefit of taxation. Those paying taxes abroad are not paying it because of so much of the benefits. Let me shock you. They are paying it because of the penalty if you are found not paying. The price you have to pay for not paying taxes. That is key. The fear of if I'm caught not paying, I will be sent to jail and I may pay double the amount. That is the key. That is why they want to pay their taxes. So in Nigeria, have we had that structure where tax invaders are being paid, go to court? Sometimes you see ministerial appointment. I remember some years ago, they were doing a ministerial appointment interview for people to become a minister. And all he has paid as tax is 70,000 naira. Wow. That was what his tax clearance certificate was saying. So how do you marry that?
And how can that kind of a man be a minister?
Minister, you know, pay 70,000. So those are the challenges. But if somebody has avoided tax, has not paid tax, evaded tax, then you need to take that. There must be a proper tribunal. Not say this bill also creates room for that, where you have a tribunal, where you go to sit with them. But you and I know how the legal system in Nigeria works. It could involve a lot of bottleneck. Remember the DSTV issue? Government saying they should pay tax today, they go to tax tribunal, they went to the High Court. That case is ongoing. So that does not give confidence to the investors. But what we need to do as a country is to look at which area is the most productive area in our economy. How can we attract more players into that sector? How can they enjoy tax holiday? Today, the good road network we're enjoying in Lagos, if you are in Lagos from Apapa all the way to the former toll gate, was built by a company, and that company enjoyed a tax holiday during the process. That is what is obtained globally. These days, government do not have enough money to meet into the needs in terms of infrastructure globally. So what they do the PPP, government public-private partnership. So you build, you operate. For maybe 25 years, why should government be spending so much money on coastal road when you can give it to the private sector to build and tow it, and then they make their money? Government, you have built infrastructure. Then you have more money to invest in social investment.
We have very little time, and I think these people I want to ask this question are very key for our economic growth, and I'm talking about manufacturers and startups and other productive sector operating in Nigeria. What does this tax reform say about them?
Fantastic deal for them. I talk about it. You're a manufacturer, you are a smaller business, even a bigger business, but not left out. Company income tax is 30%. They are reducing it to 25%. You know what that means? That means you have 5% for even expansion that will create more jobs. That is fantastic. Manufacturers also, they are giving them a little bit of tax here and there. Then if you are manufacturing product here, that bill is fantastic. See, sometimes like people say, let's look at that bill holistically. For businesses, it's one of the best bills they've ever had. And especially the informal sector or the formal sector. Because if you don't make turnover up to 250 million, you're not supposed to pay tax. So you can see what we'll do to that small market woman. But what the challenge is, can government really bring this thing so that smaller business understand and they don't pay too much tax. They don't pay levies. They pay taxes.
So the problem now is is mass education of the informal sector.
There's mass a while ago, some states now, they are even introducing levies. They tell you have to buy a sticker. If you move from this state to this state, you have to pay.
So what would be your charge to that young Nigerian that is watching you at the moment, talking about if that bill comes into implementation in January, that's the 2025 Tax Reform Act comes into implementation by January 2026, because a lot of Nigerians are waiting to see, how will this impact my own life?
It will. Number one, if you're a business, it will impact your life. If you are a Gen Z, if you are any FX, we are finding a way to tax you. You have to pay. So those also will impact your life so that we have more money to build more infrastructure, so that you can have a better broadband.
Yeah.
So the thing is that the positivity is there. Like I say, you're a smaller business, you don't do a turnover up to 250 million, you're exempted from tax.
Quickly walk us through this. The VAT sharing formula for the federal government is 10% from this 2025 Tax Reform Act. The state government is 55%, and the local government will take in 35%. Can you throw more light on this?
I'm not excited about that. So that's part of the things I'm not excited about.
Why
because
are you not excited about
because local government should get more. They are more the people that the informal sector meet more. So they should have more money to create more infrastructure.
Yeah.
But because of the state government, they have a say. They went to the presidency, the part of the committee. How many local government could talk for themselves? The 55% for the state government. Ordinarily, this 55%, remember local government are in charge of primary schools. So how do you help them? Also, what we see is overlapping. Government saying, I'm helping local government. No, it's not supposed to be so. I think it's good. The federal government have reduced their own by 10 to just 10%, which is fantastic. But for me, I think the local government would have gotten more. And the value-added tax should not be flat. I keep saying it.
Yeah. Okay.
I cannot be collecting value-added tax on a product that when it goes to your place, you say that product cannot be consumed in your place. You will not allow that product to go to your state. And I'm creating value for that product in my state. And you are not going to, we're not going to share equally.
Thank you. Amazing conversation. Thank you so much. At the end of the day, we want 2026 to come and we want to see this fully implemented. Thank you very much for joining us on this very important conversation.